She's the 2008, she has a 2018 MacArthur Fellow. 2020, yeah. 2022-23 Mellon Presidential Fellow, Lannan Literary Fellow, Native Arts Foundation Artist, and no fellow, and Chancellor of the Academy of American Poets. She's a member of the Board of Trustees for the United States Artists, where she is an alumna of the Ford Fellowship. Diaz is a professor director of the Center for Imagination in the Borderlands and the Maxine and Jonathan Marshall Chair in Modern and Contemporary Poetry at Arizona State University. All I can say is, this is an amazing person and a fantastic writer, and we are honored to have her be here. So it would be Natalie first, and then Kathy Park Hong. The hits just keep on coming. New York Times best-selling book of creative nonfiction, Minor Feelings. This is that beautiful book here. It's right here, right? Available. By the way, I didn't show you the cover for Post-Colonial Love Poems. There it is, right? Just in case, you want to pick it up, you know what I'm saying? Yes. All right. So, Minor Feelings, and then, which is an Asian American Reckoning, was published in spring 2020 by One World Random House and Profile Books in the UK. It was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize, won the National Book Critics Circle Award for Autobiography, and earned her recognition on Time 100 Most Influential People in 2021. She's also the author of the poetry collection Engine Empire, fantastic, published in 2012 by Norton Dance Revolution. Adrian Rich chose that for the Barnard Women's Poets Prize, Dance Revolution. And translating Mom, Hong is the recipient of the Wyndham Campbell Prize, Guggenheim Fellowship, National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship. She's the full professor at Rutgers Newark University. Amazing writer, great accomplished person, but again, a human of great generosity and grace. So we're looking forward to that. And then Roger Robinson. We go back a long ways, Roger. Roger Robinson is the recipient of the T.S. Eliot Prize, the RSL Ondaatje Prize for Portable Paradise. Here's the book, which was also a New Statesman Book of the Year. He has been commissioned by the National Trust, the V&A, the National Portrait Gallery, amongst others, and is co-founder of Malika's Poetry Kitchen. This is an amazing outfit out of the UK, and Spoke Lab. Recent collaborations include poetic responses to the paintings of Hurian Anderson for a forthcoming artist monograph with Johnny Pitt's Home Is Not a Place. That book has been all over the internet and doing wonderful stuff. Fusing poetry and photography in the portrayal of the and for Black Britain. Roger is also a big music star, I'm just going humble and thing, but a big music star. And dub things. People, all I can say is, it's getting hotter. So let's give a good, fantastic Calabash welcome for Natalie Diaz, Catherine Oliver, and Roger Robinson.
Tinyamahot, Calabash, Iwanja Hotan, Kevak Idum, Natalie Diaz Imuik, Hakulo Iman, Avikwame Iman Bench. Me estoy alegre de estar aquí con todos ustedes. Gracias por la generosa invitación. Kwame, Justine, Sally, the Hensel family, the Calabash family, and the Treasure Beach community. It is lucky to be alongside you tonight, and Roger and Kathy. I am from the desert, an ancient ocean. I arrived to your homeland and waters with much respect and love, the same love I have for my lands and waters. This poem I'm going to read is in thinking toward the The missing, murdered, and indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit and LGBTQ folks, for which there is no official count in the United States or North America for that matter. Colony. The coyotes are on the beach, vacuuming tonight's terrible light with their eyes. They puncture the river's sleep with holes of blue-green eyeshine. The river rolls over, awake. The coyotes are baptizing the rabbits, dunking them in the shallow water. The rabbits play dead in the coyotes' mouths, but jolt and cry out when they break the water. The river is cold and they shake, the rabbits. I've never seen a rabbit swim, and no rabbits will swim tonight. The river, because it is the scene of their crimes. The river, because it will clean us of what the rabbits have done. The rabbits are not from here. They come from another territory of night, from a different moon. The rabbits are white, which is not a color, but how fast the color twitches. The rabbits disappear our women. Maybe not these exact rabbits, not yet, but rabbits like these, and soon. White rabbits as call and response, a multiplication, the game where everyone holds hands, then someone squeezes, sends a signal, and everyone sends the same signal they receive. If that game were forever and played by rabbits. Rabbits so white, their eyes are pink. The rabbits took my cousin. They collapsed her down to a greasy spot somewhere. Like when your brother backs the truck out of the driveway and the truck leaves behind an iridescent liqueur on the ground. So you sprinkle sand over it to absorb the stain. The coyotes are a night shift, a labor of shades against the pebbled shore. They are a range of blue-black mountains reorganizing weight, a dusk. With more night happening, the rabbits become stranger. Their ears are slicked back, like men. I try not to ask myself, what is a rabbit? I can't explain the rabbit, but I feel it. I've felt it my entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. I don't know what it is, but it's there. A white blot in my mind. The question distracts me, and a rabbit kicks its body free. The noisy shadow tangles and disrupts the coyote's feet. One of the coyotes transforms. It opens all of its mouths and recaptures the rabbit. At first, the cry of a rabbit is the cry of a baby. Then the cry becomes something there are no words for. The cry of a rabbit will make you cry, unless you are hungry, or the rabbit has pulled your cousin out of your life by her hair. The coyotes plunged the rabbit into the river 4 times. One of the rabbit's ears flapped in the wind like empty violet shirt sleeves. Each time they are sunk in the water, the rabbits become more quiet. The silence embers the coyote's eyes copper, chrysocolla. Some of the rabbits hang upside down, staring off and soothed by the moon, who is also soaked with river and whose light trickles out from the middle of the water to the shore in tremors. Wounds move this same drenched way. The mesquite trees along the jetty are tap-rooted in the water. When you gash a mesquite trunk or cut its branches, its skin seeps red gold sap, weeps and crusts an amber blister. The rabbits wish to begin healing, but their wounds are happening now. The rabbits wish to cicatrix. Rabbits are always too late. The rabbits' cries have become choked with water or the coyote's teeth, most likely with blood and fur, a burbling. The river and its bullfrog are also sounds. A fish leaps from the water and falls back into it. I should have said the rabbits were screaming, not crying. I am the one crying, and the locusts and the bullfrog. The coyotes move in a group how mourners move around a pyre, how authorities move to the door of a family whose daughter or mother has gone missing. Not a tight pack, but a breathing. How fingers brush one another on their own hand. The coyotes' tails are down. The rabbits aren't saying anything anymore. They were another kind of quiet before this, before the screaming. The rabbits have never wanted to talk about what they have done. This rabbit quiet is a new quiet. Tufts of pale fur rock in a foam onto shore, off, then back to it, off again. It never settles. The coyotes clean the rabbits with the river and clean us of the rabbits. They lick the terrible light from one another's faces and eyes. But what the rabbits have done is still done. The coyotes know this and cry the spilling moonlight back to the moon. The moon crusts and closes. The coyotes leave the beach one at a time. We are all clean and lonely. Oh, you don't have to clap. You just gotta watch those rabbits. So I'll explain a couple things in this poem. I have a brother who's been in and out of prison most of my life and his life. I recently had a sister who's in prison, and it was a very different experience for me. So I'm gonna mention diesel therapy, which is something that happens in the US carceral system where it's like coined diesel therapy by those who are incarcerated because they just start moving the prisoner around, the person around without telling their family, and it's hard to keep track of where they are. Also, I'll mention Securus, Global Tellink, and those are people who've monetized visits to prisons by turning them from face-to-face visits into TV video visits, which is what happened with my sister. We weren't allowed to see her. This is called undercorrection. Last month, I went to a new therapist for the first time because my country is sick, and I am my country's valued customer and chronic patient. My sister is not treated by doctors, but by prison guards and armed bus drivers. My sister is treated with diesel therapy. They move her from facility to facility with no warning or explanation, no map, because they can. I follow her because I must. I follow her into every television or video screen, Vizio, Samsung, Panasonic, Sony, ICS, Securus, Global Tellink. I am learning a lot about television and video monitors. I am learning so much about television and video monitors that they will soon give me a degree. I am becoming a professor of communications. I have a degree of hatred in me. I am a knowledge system and I speak in code. I have been in so many video screens that I know all cells in a plasma display are smashed together, held inside by two glass plates, front, back, like my sister, who is also held inside, who is also smashed in a cell. We are a reality TV show. We are Survivor. We are Lost. I am a student of the price my sister pays and whom she pays it to. The Ford Foundation Justice Grant gave me money to write this poem, invested in me while simultaneously investing in the system which has imprisoned my sister in the television. The Ford Foundation gave me money and I use it. I use Ford's money to send my sister books. I put money on her books so she can buy toothpaste and ramen noodles she eats with a cone. I also use it to buy time for phone calls, for video phone calls. anything to get closer to my sister. The system takes the money I pay them. My mother pays them, my brother pays them, my sister's 4 kids pay them to talk to my sister, and gives it back to the Ford Foundation in private equity, so they can give it to the next sister who has a sister who is serving time and needs to buy time on the phone. It is an equitable process. Equal opportunity for sisters like me, like mine. We are especially lucrative for the Ford Foundation. My 3-year-old niece and 4-year-old nephew ask to talk to their mother every morning and evening, even when they cannot. I am caught in the middle of a riddle of glass because I came to this prison and made the mistake of looking for my sister who is held somewhere behind the glass. I'm glad you're here, she says. And I am not sure what she means by here. It feels like we are both nowhere. I go on letting my sister think we are both here, smashed, but at least together. I can't bear to correct her. I won't say there are 1,000 concrete blocks and 700 years separating us. A basic blueprint for a nation or a philanthropic institution. But these days, I know less about architecture and everything about video monitors. For example, the screen I am talking at has fingerprints smudged on it from other visitors who reached out to touch who was not there, not really there. I tell myself, do not touch the screen, Natalie. Do not let these guards see you wanting her touch. Do not let them know they are punishing your body by taking your body away, by correcting your body so that it remembers it does not deserve to touch its sister. Do not reach out and touch the screen. Do not audition for this role. Do not act this script. Do not remind your sister her body is being corrected to a condition. I do not touch the screen. I cannot touch my sister. I don't ask my sister if she's okay, but she tells me. She says, I'm okay. But her words come out in cipher, in all the old shapes, zigzags of water, the wind spiral, a ram, a woman, a maze. And I know she means there is no such thing as okay in here. My sister needs money to buy a thermal t-shirt. It's cold in her cell and her blanket is thin. I tell her maybe it's cold to keep the germs away, like in a hospital. We both know it is so cold because they know all the ways to punish my sister. But this is their mistake, I think, this coldness. It is making my sister remember her body. Her body is fighting this punishment. It is shivering as if to say, I deserve more. I am watching her shiver from outside or inside the television and video monitor. I am in my mind all this time holding my sister in my arms. I am waiting to use some of the Ford Justice Grant to put money on my sister's books so she can buy a thermal, and I will publish this poem to say thank you for the fucking money. So we call our desert an ancient ocean, but my skin is very desert, so I feel like I'm just drinking the air that's while I'm here, which is nice. This next poem is called Alchemy Horse. I'll read this poem and then I'll finish with maybe a brighter poem. You know. Although pain is pretty bright, we all know that. Alchemy Horse. American, they said, but horse I dreamed, and horse became. I was cleaved from human earth, red sap, lymph, calcium, atlas and femur, a new chaos, come forth through the world's foaming crust, then licked into my own skin, a flesh being bearing its first dream self. I came to life how stars appears, of dust, collapsed till struck to light. Dream erupted, Gila monsters, lava black, land, and all its thunders. In this great magnetic field, I am a knowledge system. My hair is a tangled Mojave dictionary, and my tongue is a danger. I speak a dark whip into the Habub's gold throb. This valley's bright weather is my ceremony. Flash flood is my medicine. How I clean myself of self. America, hoard of property, is a debris of my cells. Limestone, wound porous, seafloor, basalt, trilobite, camel bones, glass, and black mountain. We professional mourners, crying for our lives and for hire. From dark colonies in the caves behind our hearts, we weep the sun to fall and bats into the sky. We weep the saguaros to bloom eastward and moon white, soft-petaled wounds circling their night wrists and crowns. Grief is our lush and luxury, the strain of anything that grows. Sand rose, ironwood, smoke tree, we tend dune gardens from the deadlands, till the haylight beds reap selenite thorns from the horned toads' backs. In the AM heat warp, vultures ripple the violet sky dome, a swarm of blood-gloved archivists. They skywrite directions to the museum, to the university, to the hospital. In this epic of citizenship, I must arrive everywhere twice, occupied and unseated. One hand, the comet, the other hand, who makes the comet come. So call me lodestone or alone, whisper me, secret magnet. In pink twilight, my love and I are effigies, leaching salt through our terracotta hands. My language clays and maps amaranth lather along my thigh. A migration of exile, a self-determined relocation of pleasure, want-need. We are the origin, oxygen and always becoming, bloodworms from which new land might grow. How we make soil, then mud where we laid, alchemy of our wet denim skins and gravity. We pulse animal and sensual, thundercats of love greening the desert, pale grasses fruit in my breath, gray-green along the belly of the night branch. We are unacreable. We abrade the transit, the survey, hold tight and repeat ourselves in crystal lattice. Come morning, come mercury light, we are blessed and scattered. Shards of a horsehead water jar, lonely for a body and aching for the cool taste and shape the first water once took. This nation is a white, bright, magnesium Indian burn. I fume and illumine in its quantum arson. Indian, iron, alchemy horse. My brothers are the cold killers, shovelers of silver anthracite, fuel gods of the midnight train, boxcar, jump track, jolt light, vaporing night salt to cloud, Mustang. Every desert highway is sacred, and gas station pumps break our hearts. We have petal bones white doctors call coffin bones. That's why I'm always dying. That's why I'm always half ghost, half back, half dressed as the war party who will return with a full tank of gas and a stick of scalps. Tonight, the city is a tectonic bone radio. Our ancestors are on every channel. Scorpions whip and fluoresce from the shadows of settler houses. Green-eyed wolf spiders emerge from their dens to join the dark hunt. The midnight train monsoons around the bend, recognizes me as relation and cries, chukshon, chukshon, chukshon. We are each the other's passenger. On the horizon, my warrior's volcano. I shatter cinders from my hair. I will watch them eat the day aliens with flame. American, Indian, horsepire. The Hohokam canals crack awake, gush their waters through the settlement streets, blister and bone flour. I war whoop out into the empty, displaced hip of the ghost sea, and the ghost sea war weeps back, spiraling the etched shells of my ear. America, haunted hotels, shipwreck, rock wreck, ship of fools, little giant cemetery of braids. Beloved occupiers, I am posting notice. There is no more vacancy. When this world has ended, I will carry my people home. And then I'm gonna... So I haven't tasted a Jamaican apple yet, but I heard they're good. And I know they're probably better than those little apples we get in the States. So I'm in on this last poem as like a kind of a celebration of the ordinary, and joy and love. And gracias for your very generous attention. I watch her eat the apple. She twirls it in her left hand, a small red merry-go-round. According to the white oval sticker, she holds apple number 4016. I've read in some book or other of 4,015 fruits she held before this one, each equally dizzied by the heat in the tips of her fingers. She twists the stem, pulls it like the pin of a grenade, and I just know somewhere someone is sitting alone on a porch, bruised, opened up to their wet white ribs, riddled by her teeth. Lucky. With her right hand, she lifts the sticker from the skin. Now the apple is more naked than any apple has been since two bodies first touched the leaves of ache in the garden. Maybe her apple is Macintosh. Maybe it is red delicious. I only know it is the color of something I dreamed, something I gave to her after being away for 10,000 nights. The apple pulses like a red bird in her hand. She is setting the red bird free, but the red bird will not go. So she pulls it to her face as if to tell it a secret. She bites, cleaving away a red wing. The red bird sings. Yes, she bites the apple, and there is music. A branch breaking, a ship undone by the shore, a knife making love to a wound, the sweet scrape of a match lighting the lamp of her mouth. This blue world has never needed a woman to eat an apple so badly, to destroy an apple, to make the apple bone, and she does it. I watch her eat the apple, carve it to the core and set it wobbling on the table. A broken bell I beg to wrap my red skin around until there is no apple. There is only this woman who is a city of apples. There is only me licking the juice from the streets of her palm. If there is a God of fruit or things devoured, and this is all it takes to be beautiful, then God, please let her eat another apple tomorrow. No, gracias.
Hi. Thank you, Natalie. That was incredible. Another round. Thank you, Kwame. Thank you, Justine. Thank you, Calabash. I feel so blessed to be here. My heart is full to be in this room with with all these brilliant writers and this brilliant audience. I was thinking about the theme of our little reading trio, and it's I guess it's called Culture Carriers, right? And I guess I was thinking about the one language that carries many cultures, that has also been imposed upon many of us, the English language. And I'm I'm very much a poet who is interested not just playing with English language, but using it as a subject matter. So I'm going to start with a few poems. They're kind of odd poems, so bear with me. These first few poems are from my book, Engine Empire, which came out in 2012, and it's about the Old West, it's about industrial China, it's about a future where we're in right now, actually, of ChatGPT and internet, our lives being the internet. But I thought I would read a few poems. They're called lipograms, and these are little poems that only use one vowel, and they're from the Old West, so there's some Old West language in there. Ballad in O. Oh, Boomtown's got lots of sorter. Odd horrors of throwdowns. Bold cowboys lock horns. Downtrod hobos plot to rob pots of gold. Loco mobs drool for blood, howl or hoot for cottonwood blooms, throng to hood crooks, to strong wood posts. So don't confront hot bloods, don't show off or go to blows or rows, don't sob for gold lost to trollops, don't drown sorrows on shots of rock. Work morn to moon, know how to comb bottom pools, spot dots of gold to spoon pots of gold. Vow to do good. There are a couple more. Ballad in A. I didn't do all of them. You was impossible. Ballad in A. A Kansan plays cards, calls Marshall a crawdad. That barb lands that rascal a slap. That Kansan jackass scats camps back at Caballada Ranch. Hangs cack axe and camp hat, Kansas nag mad and rants. Can't bass, can't bacchanal, and Garland alas. Can't at last brag and crack law's balls. Kansan's cantata rang at that Ramada Ranch. Mañana. Kansan snarls, I'll have an armada and thwart law's brawn, slam law a damn mass warpath. Marshall's a marksman, maps Kansan's track, calm as a shaman, sharp as a hawk, says that dastard Kansas had a gnaws lamb fatback. At dawn, Marshall stalks that ranch, packs a gat and blasts Kansan's ass. Kansan cast, blasts back. A flag flaps at half-mast. I cheat a little bit there, but in the A1, but I have an excuse for it. Actually, I'm gonna read two other short poems. This is just a little joyful poem. It's called Hurry Ha. I want to be encored in horn-made dreams and pedal my bicycle to a dawn of dimpled lemons and sail among a regatta of cabbage moth wings upon a milken pond. I want to be idle as pearl-given clouds, imping into spring and explode to a Bedouin sky of lancing stars and alabath of light. I want to be sweet as a bubble tea of tapioca pearls, my balls sucked through a straw. I want to gather thistles and get fruity pickles. I want to lose myself entirely, ground myself to Pompeian powder, my underwear ripply as crumbly Kleenex, till the sun burns me to millipedes and cent percent spent, I can sleep among chandelier leaves, soft as Sisu's ear fuzz. They're short little poems, so no need to clap unless you really feel compelled to, then I guess I wouldn't mind. So I thought I would read actually a really early poem when I was a baby poet in my 20s. It's called All the Aphrodisiacs, and it's from my first collection. It's called from years ago. It's called All the Aphrodisiacs, and I thought I would read it because it would seg into this essay, just an excerpt of it that I'm going to read called Bad English, so you get a little taste or an understanding of what I'm thinking about. I guess when I was writing this, I was trying to write a sexy poem, and I was like, I don't know how to write a sexy poem, but this was my 20-something-year-old attempt to write a sexy poem. All the Aphrodisiacs. Blowfish arranged on a saucer, Russian roulette, angelic slivers, ginseng, cut antlers allotted in bags, dogs on a spit, a Dutch girl winking, holding a bowl of shellfish. White cloth, drunkenness, a different language leaks out, the idea of throat, an orifice, a cord. You say it turns you on when I speak Korean. The gold paste of afterbirth. No, red. Household phrases. 배고파. I am hungry. 치워. Clean up. 개새끼. Son of a dog. I breathe those words in your ear, which make you climax. Afterwards, you ask me for their translations. I tell you, it's a secret. Kijik nian tigit ryu. The recitation of the alphabet. Guttural diphthong, gorgeous. What are the objects that turn me on? Words, Hangul, the language first used by female entertainers, poets, prostitutes, little pink tutus at FAO Schwartz. When I was 4, they used to dress me as a boy. White noise, the whir of ventilation in the library. Even quarantined among books, I tried to kiss you once. Strips of white cotton, the color of the commoner, the color of virtue, the color that can be sullied. My hand pressed against your diaphragm, corralling your pitch, a pinch of rain caught between mouths, analgesic tea, poachers drawing blood, strips of white cotton I use to bind your wrist to post, tight enough to swell vein, allow sweat to sully the white of your sibilant body, the shrug of my tongue, the shrug of command. Shh. So this book, Mind Your Feelings, came out in 2020, and it's called An Asian American Reckoning, and I thought I would read Bad English, because so many of us we are part of the diaspora, and English is a language we have learned to speak. And there's also, I explain the origin of one of the lines I use in one of the poems I just read. So there's that connection too. Bad English. I had a special, almost erotic relationship with my stationery when I was young. I collected stationery items the way other kids collect dolls or action figures. Really, I must buy a pencil, Virginia Woolf said, without warning, before rushing out the door to begin her peregrination through the wintry streets of London. I would have related to her urgency. I too felt passionately for the lead pencil, as long as it was a thin lavender mechanical pencil with a Hello Kitty bauble clasped to the tip with a delicate silver chain. And erasers too, scented raspberry or vanilla, molded into plump pastel, wall-eyed Sanrio critters. I adored my erasers so much, I had to repress the urge to bite their heads off. I was careful at first, gently brushing the bobbed feet against my notebook. But once my eraser was spoiled with graphite, I ruthlessly rubbed away my errors until all that remained was a gray, dusty nub of face with one sad punctuation of an I. For some reason, I was a target in church camp, where the Korean girls my age ostracized me out of their room, claiming all the beds, saying they were taken even if they were not. So I was forced to bunk with the younger girls in the next room. One early morning, I was betrayed by my beloved stationery. I opened up my Hello Kitty diary, which I've left unlocked, and saw that someone had inscribed on the first page in neat cursive that must have been written with a mechanical pencil. Kitty, go home. No. The Korean girls I knew were so moody. They made Sylvia Plath seem as dull as C-SPAN. Some were from LA's Koreatown, wore fake juicy couture, applied makeup like cholas, and spoke in the regional Creole accent of fob, gangster, and valley. Bitch, what are you looking at? Are you lesbo? Asked one girl named Grace when she caught me gawking at her white ghost lips outlined in black lip pencil. Later, I tried to look up lesbo in the dictionary and was relieved that I couldn't find it. Because I grew up around bad English, I was bad at English. I was born in LA, but wasn't fluent until the embarrassingly delayed age of 6, maybe even 7. Matriculating at school was like moving to another country. Up until then, I was surrounded by Korean. The English heard in church among friends and family in K-Town was short, barbed, and broken. Subject and object nouns conjoined in odd marriages. Verbs forever disagreeing. Definite articles nowhere to be found. Teenagers vented by interjecting Korean with the ever-present fuck. Fuck him. Oppa's an asshole. The immigrant's first introduction to surviving in English is profanity. When my cousin came over to the US, I immediately passed on a cache of curses to prepare them for school. My uncle said he used to start and end all of his sentences with motherfucker because he learned his English when he was a clothing wholesaler in New York. English was always borrowed, from hip hop to Spanglish to The Simpsons. Early on, my father learned that in America, one must be emotionally demonstrative to succeed. So he had a habit of saying, I love you, indiscriminately. To his daughters, to his employees, to his customers, and to airline personnel. He must have observed a salesman affectionately slap another salesman on the back while saying, love you, man, good to see you. But because there is no fraternizing man or slap on the back, his usage had an indelicate intimacy, especially since he quietly unloads the endearment as a burning confession. Thanks for getting those orders in, he'll say before hanging up the phone. Oh, and Kirby, I love you. I'm now in the habit of collecting bad English. I browsed English.com, a gag site that uploads photographs of mistranslated English from East Asian countries. The images are separated into signs, such as, quote unquote, please, no conversation, no saliva. T-shirts, I feel a happiness when I eat him, and menus, roasted husband. We all wish for that, some of us, or some of us. The most viewed image is a cartoon ad of a popular sweet tapioca pearl beverage with the caption, I am bubble tea, suck my balls. I steal these lines and use them in my poetry. Take the phrase, I feel a happiness when I eat him. It has all the traits of a surprising poetic line. A familiar sentiment is now unfamiliar because chance has turned error into errors. That needless, quote unquote, A is crucial since it tweaks a tone into a slightly sinister animatronic pitch, while indicating that the lover is not awash in happiness, but feels happiness at a remove. Like an extra tooth, that A forces open a bead of uncertainty or cold reflection while she takes into consideration her happiness. She is not sure why she is happy, but she is, as she eats him. It was once a source of shame, but now I say it proudly. Bad English is my heritage. I share a literary lineage with writers who make the unmastering of English their rallying cry, who queer it, twerk it, hack it, Calabinize it, other it, by hijacking English and warping it to a fugitive tongue. To other English is to make audible the imperial language sown, the imperial power sown into the language, to slit English open so its dark histories slide out. In the essay Other, From Noun to Verb, the poet Nathaniel Mackey draws a distinction between the noun other, which is social, and the verb other, which is artistic. Artistic othering, he says, has to do with innovation, invention, and change, upon which cultural health and diversity depend and thrive. Social othering has to do with power, exclusion, and privilege, the centralizing of a noun against which otherness is measured, meted out, marginalized. My focus is the practice of the former by people subjected to the latter. Mackey borrows his title from Amiri Baraka, who aptly defines a history of white musicians profiting off of Black music as, quote, turning a verb into a noun. For instance, swing, the verb, meaning reacting to music, was a Black innovation before white musicians stole and encased it in the commercial brand swing. Mackey demands we wrest back the white man's noun and return it to a verb by breaking into the colonizer's English and alchemizing new words out of local vernacular. My own method of othering English is to eat English before it eats me. In the process, we might eat each other like a scene out of Park Chan-wook's film Old Boy, where a man marches into a sushi restaurant and orders a live octopus, which comes whole and slithering on a plate. He tries to stuff the entire octopus into his mouth, but it's too big. The cephalopod covers his whole face while cinching its tentacles around his head so he can't breathe. Eventually, he passes out. On good writing days, I am the octopus. Thank you.
I mean, it's such an extreme pleasure for me to be here. Before I start, it would be remiss of me not to mention some people, who are here, who have been instrumental to what I do. One is Kwame Dawes, who has been a personal mentor of mine for coming up to 30 years. Without Kwame, there'd be no me for sure. Also in the audience is Linton Quincy Johnson. He's a mentor from afar, but he just stick to your vision, and if anybody don't like it, then forget them, And then Shamila Bismahoon, who supports me all the way, and also Jeremy Pointing of People Tree Press, who supported everything I did. So thank you very much for it. And I'd like to thank you all the good people at Treasure Beach and also my fellow writers. It's been such a pleasure talking to everybody. I don't get to talk to writers, so I'm talking a bit too much, you know. I'm gonna read some old poems, some new poems, but I'm gonna start with poems from A Portable Paradise. A Portable Paradise, I had started writing this book, and the idea of it was to kind of excavate the idea of paradise as a philosophy. And so as I was going along, things kept on happening for the Black British community. And as each thing happened, I felt the weight of responsibility to react to it. So the book started to grow in increments. So one of the things that happened was there was a tower block called Grenfell, where a lot of Black people and brown people died. And when they died, there was no accounting for any guilt of it. And so part of me was thinking, well, where's their paradise? All these people who lived in England, you know, like how did they get their paradise? And then I had a son, my son's birth story was super convoluted. So paradise began to stand for hope. And so paradise began to morph into different things. And then Windrush happened, and then Trump was there. So I was like, paradise was looking weird all the time. So I kind of tried to examine it, you know? And so this first poem is called The Missing, and it's for the victims of the Grenfell Tower fire disaster. As if their bodies became lighter, 10 of those seated in the front pews began to float, and then to lie down as if on a bed, then pass down the aisle as if on a conveyor belt of pure air. Slow as a funeral cortege past the congregants, some of them sinking to their knees in prayer, one woman rocking back and forth, muttering, "What about me, Lord? Why not me?" The risen streamed slowly, so slowly, out the Gothic doors of the church, up to the skies, finches darting deftly between them. 10 streets away, a husband tries to hold on to the feet of his floating wife. At times, her force lifts him slightly off the ground. His grip slipping, he falls to his knees with just her high heel shoes in his hands. He shields and squints his eyes as she is backlit by the sun. People start floating from the window of a tower. From far enough away, they could be black smoke from spreading flames. A father with his child on top of his shoulders, men in sand-colored galabeers, a woman with an Elvis quiff and vintage glasses, a deep indigo hijab flapping in the wind, an artist in a waxcloth head wrap, all airborne. Amongst the cirrus clouds, floating like hair, they began to look like a separate city. Someone looking on could mistake them for new arrivals to Earth. They are the city of the missing, and we now are the city of the stayed. Yo, if your phone rings, yeah, just answer it. It'll make it more interesting. You can just answer it. What are you doing? I'm in Jamaica, in Calabash. Let me just find this poem. So, I want to read a poem. This poem nearly didn't make it into the book because I thought it might have been too personal. But then as I went on, as the book went on, there was a thin line about, you know, the devaluation of black bodies and the valuation of black bodies. And I left it in because it was about a Jamaican nurse in England who valued my son, who had a rough time when he was born. It's called Grace. Hold on, let me just get some water. Grace. That year, we danced to the green bleaks on screens. My son had come early, just the 1 kilogram of him, all big head, bulging eyes, and blue veins. On the ward, I met Grace, a Jamaican senior nurse who sang pop songs on her shift like they were hymns. Your son feisty. You see him just pull up all the breathing mask them. People spoke of her in half tones down these carbolic halls. Even the doctor gave way to her when it comes to putting a line into my son's nylon thread of a vein. She'd warned junior doctors with trembling hands, "May only letting you try twice." On her night shift, she'd pull my son's incubator into her room, no matter the tangled confusion of wires and machines. When the consultant told my wife and I on morning rounds that he's not sure my son will live, and if he lives, he might never leave the hospital, she pulled us quickly aside and said, "Him have no right to tell you that, just raw so." Another consultant tells nurses to stop feeding a baby who will soon die. And she commands her loyal nurses to feed him. Feed him. No baby must dead with a hungry belly. And she'd sit in the dark, rocking that well-fed baby, held to her bosom, slowly humming the melody of Happy by Pharrell. And I think if by some chance I am not here and my son's life should flicker, then Grace, she should be the one. I just have to say, my son is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with him through the grace of God, you know? And through the grace of grace, you know? So he fighting me, doing jiu-jitsu and everything. You know? I was telling some of the other writers that I wrote this last poem, A Portable Paradise. It was the last poem I wrote in the book, which was the title poem. And the people who I was sending it to, they kept on saying I was writing trash. And but they ended up liking it, I ended up liking it. So this is A Portable Paradise. And if I speak of paradise, I'm speaking of my grandmother, who told me to carry it on my person, concealed, so no one else would know but me. That way they can't steal it, she'd say. And if life puts you under pressure, trace its ridges in your pocket, smell its piney scent on your handkerchief, hum its anthem under your breath. And if your stresses are sustained and daily, get yourself to an empty room, be it hotel, hostel, or hovel. Find a lamp, empty your paradise onto a desk, your white sands, your green hills, your fresh fish. Shine the lamp on it, like the fresh hope of morning, and keep staring at it till you sleep. The last book I wrote is a collaboration with a photographer called Johnny Pitts. And what we did is that we went anti-clockwise around England on the coast, looking for black communities and talking to them. And it was mad fun. But it was mad fun to talk to people, but it was also mad fun to travel with another black man and just be driving on this road trip. The only thing was that, because I didn't drive, he drove. And they had this rule, this black man rule, that if you're driving, you have to control the music. And so for like the better part of a year and a bit, I had to listen to his music. And he only listens to 90s music. That's all he listens to. So, but there was this kind of weird dissonance because we'd be passing like C's and stuff like that, and you'd be hearing like Belle Biv DeVoe, you know? And then we'd be like passing like the White Cliffs of Dover, and you'd be hearing like Jodeci, and you're just like, man, it's weird. Also, too, he a little younger than me. I was actually there in the 90s. So each song had memories of me just being in a wedding, trying to dance with some girl, and I have all these kind of conflicting things. But what it did set me up for, it kind of set my eye to look for these conflicts between things. So as I was looking at, like coastal and rural stuff, lots of kind of like urban and city things started coming up. So this is one of those things. So we was in Brighton. We was passing through Brighton. And in Brighton, in that beach, what they do is they take kids from the tower blocks and stuff and they bus them to the sea. But a lot of these kids have never seen the sea before. So for them, it's like a whole new experience, And I got to saw an instant. I had the feeling that they didn't, but I saw this little instant. It's called The City Kids See the Sea. The city kids see the sea. For many, the first time. These kids of the tower block and tarred playgrounds now running towards the scene of sea with its blended blue sky and wave breaks of silver tip froth. Most never even bother to take off their shoes or roll up their pants. Instead, they run right in, splashing each other with arcs and sprays of delight. Sunlight threading gold along the sea's rippling swells all around them. So the sea became the color of smoke, and the sky lead. Hijabs dripped, and Nikes squelched back to the bus. O city children, you are as ancient as water, as calm, as warm as the evening sun, as calm as the tide slowly pulling away. When we was hanging out in Dover too, in Dover car park, we had come out to the car park, and then, like in a tree, they had like, the whole tree was covered with parakeets. But here's the thing, parakeets are not indigenous to England. So we was like, what? But they seem really chill, and that ended up being a poem. Also, we found out when we was going on tour reading, everybody had a story why there were so many parakeets. So the best story was that Jimi Hendrix had 2 parakeets. For real, this is for real. Jimi Hendrix had 2 parakeets and he let them go. And all the parakeets that live there are from those 2 original rock parakeets. And so that's why, they have a little attitude and stuff like that. And then they had the other one, which is also supposedly true, is that they were trying to do a tropical film, and so they imported a bunch of parakeets, and somebody leave the door open, and all the parakeets were just like, bust it, and they left. But in my mind, if the rock parakeets and the film parakeets meet each other, that'd be a good pussy, 20 parakeets. Not the common call of the crow. Not ripened fruit, no blossoming flower, no flames. Not an imagined tropical film set for festive Christmas lights. But 20 parakeets at home in a tree outside a Dover car park, as content as an Eddie Mango tree in Curacao. Ignoring the calls of being illegal immigrants. And the murmurs that there may be a danger to local birds. They seemed assured in their fellowship enough to sing their calypso and look down on the city streets as people marched by carrying orange supermarket bags, watching the streaks of red brake lights from passing cars and children pointing at them. Look at the birdies, Mom. Look at them, dressed in their bright yellow anoraks. So, thanks. Johnny had taken a picture of this woman, and I didn't get to interview her, but Johnny just took a picture of her, and she was, when he was traveling, and she was super comfortable in her body. It's like she had a kind of poise and presence, and that inspired this poem, even though she didn't actually say this, but I just got this vibe from her. So you had to kind of imagine me as a middle-aged black woman. That wasn't a joke, you could do it. You can do it in the heart, in the heart. Story. My body is the shape of my journey. Babies, yes, I've had a few. Designed by these stretch marks on my stomachs and hips. Designed by God, they are beautiful. The flare of my nostril is my grandmother's, which skipped a generation to center my face. 2 fully grown men still prefer my food over their wives' cooking. It's not my problem their wives can't cook. And I crave no man who doesn't adore this storied body, because it's mine, and it's the only one I've got. And it has no space for shame, mine or yours. If your body isn't telling your story, it means someone else is using your body to tell theirs. And you better solve that problem. I went to, one of the things I like to do when I go to like different places, I like to try and go to a barber and feel like I'm living here. So I went to the barber and I had all these ideas of barbers in my mind. And, but it was so quiet and it was so industrious and businesslike. I was like, man, it's not a good time barber, but it's a good haircut, you know. But when I was walking back, I started to smell, it might be, like we call it green plum. I don't know, do you have green plum around here? I just felt like I was smelling green plum when I was walking back. And it just triggered all these memories of my aunt and her mom. So this is a really old poem called Song for Angela. My mother is a twin. Or I should say my mother is part of a twin. My grandmother told me that they used to sing together. She showed me a picture of them winning prizes. What people didn't know is that they actually had the same voice, she said. And together they had a haunting texture that would impress the judges time after time. As a child, I remember sleepy nights in small theaters where they'd raise their voices in chorus, their afros perfectly circular, framing their faces like halos. Their dashiki robes like cloth equivalents of the stained glass windows of the Sistine Chapel as they belted out their folk tune chorus. When I was a teen, one morning I saw them cooking an Easter weekend brunch. As they diced and chopped, the smell of fresh thyme and baking fish hung in the air like mist. I heard them start a tune together in key without any signals, not even a look. Their afros now straightened out into razor-sharp bobs falling at their cheeks as thick and fluid as Indian ink. Their dashikis abandoned for batik wraps, folk tunes replaced by hymns with calypso flavor. They sang their duet to God in unison for 3 hours till the food was ready to be served, with not even a look. I saw them sing again together in that room when it seemed Angela, my mother's twin, her face serene as a newborn baby's, lie in bed. My mother's hair cropped short and gray with age. Angela's hair short through chemo and gray with age. Holding my mother's hand, saying she felt no pain, saying she had no regrets, saying goodbye to everyone, and then they sang. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thy art, how great that. Then she squeezes my mother's hand, stopping her short. And my mother looks at her, and Angela whispers she's ready, and pushes her head back into her pillow as if to get comfy for her journey, as she smiled and closed her eyes. Today, this Easter morning, my mother starts cooking brunch. And she's trying to keep a tune past the cracks in her throat. Smiling past the tears, she stops. She starts again, trying to keep her tune past the tears palming off her cheek. She stops. And she starts again, and I join in to sing Angela's part.